record and before we get started. So we're going to be starting in a few minutes. And for those of you who are tuning in on Facebook or YouTube, because of YouTube, you're just watching us today, just know that this is a radio show. This is a radio show, and from time to time, we have to take breaks because there are hard outs that we have to do. And so there's going to be some interruptions when you watch this video. So I just want to warn you ahead of time that this is a radio show, that we get to bring the on and off the air conversations to you. And today we're learning Ayurvedic. I have done lots of shows on healthy living, spirit, mind, and body. But I think this has been the missing piece in the puzzle. So fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow together. Robert, we're ready to go. Oh, true.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in since 2011, welcome back. Or maybe you just tuned in yesterday for the first time. I am so grateful for you. But if this is the first time you've stumbled upon the show, which has happened before, then just know I've been waiting for you. This is the safe place that you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to live the life of your dreams as we learn a new truth. And so here's the thing. For those of you who want the on and off the air conversations, you can join us at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. Whenever the show is live, this is where we record the show live. So join us and share the good news that we are learning new ways, new tools to heal our body, spirit, mind. And it is so important that we consider this information because up to now we've been learning about nutrition. Yes, we learn about the spirit. Yes, we learn about sleep and all the wonderful things that require a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. But someone brought to my attention that I've never done a show on Ayurvedic. Well, I had in 2015, but it's been a long time. And it wasn't like this. This is, I've got to share that I have not been able to put this book down. And it is called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. And so Ayurvedic is what I've learned is an ancient healthcare tradition that has been practiced in India for over 5,000 years. And the word comes from Sanskrit, which means ayur, means life, and veda means knowledge. Boy, are we going to learn a lot today. And I know I've already asked permission to have Dr. Suhas back because I know we're not going to be able to get everything through. So Dr. Suhas, and I'm going to say this correctly, Kshirsagar. Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar, I got so excited. Kshirsagar is the world-renowned Ayurvedic medicine doctor. And he is an educator from India. And he is most academically accomplished Ayurvedic physician in the U.S., and I would say the world. And he has been with the greatest leaders and facilitators, including Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins, and you will find him as an expert in most places that are looking for an Ayurvedic expert. So today we are going to learn from the best. We're going to learn this tradition of over 5,000 years. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Dr. Suhas is here to do just that. Thank you, Dr. Suhas, for being a part of the show today.
Thank you, Lillian. So happy and so honored to be here with all of you.
Well, you know, it's a classroom, and yes, it is a radio show. Yes, it is. We're on Facebook Live and YouTube, but this is truly a classroom, and you are our teacher today. And so, share a little bit about your background, about how you fell in love with Ayurvedic, and why it's so important in your practice today.
Well, thank you, Lillian. And I was born and brought up in India. And I come from a very traditional Vedic background. And as you just now said, Ayurveda and the Vedic body of knowledge is one of the most ancient body of knowledge that is known to humanity. It predates back to almost 5,000 years ago. So there's a living tradition where all the Vedic masters and families kind of carry this information within their families itself. So I was born and raised in a traditional Rigvedic Brahmin family. I went to regular schools. I went to Ayurvedic medical schools and colleges. And I was invited by His Holiness Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who was the founder of the Transcendental Meditation Group, to spread the message of yoga, Ayurveda, and meditation around the globe. So I studied Ayurveda, and I was born and brought up in India. But when I started traveling around the globe, I almost traveled to about 30, 40 different countries around the globe, practicing, teaching Ayurveda, starting schools, designing courses, curriculums, setting up clinics, seeing patients. And what it did was it actually enriched me as a human being. I was actually coming from a very classical understanding of what Ayurveda is, and I was comparing that with various different healthcare systems around the globe. And what I noticed was there's a missing link, how the medicine is practiced.
Yes. And so, okay, for those of you, because it's a lot harder to speak when there is music, but I want to encourage you to be the 10th caller or texter. For those of you who are watching today on Facebook Live, you also send me a message, be the 10th message that I receive private, and you will get the copy of this book. And we're going to continue speaking with Dr. Suhas when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. Join us at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live. We'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, so this is our start. This is just the beginnings. I wanted you guys to see that you are learning from the best today. And so Dr. Suhas, if you guys have any questions for Dr. Suhas, please ask during the break. And so we have people from, hello, Sik from Montenegro. He's from Montenegro. He's listening today and watching us today. And then we also have Trisha from South Africa. She's listening and watching as well. So if any of you have any questions for Dr. Suhas, you're welcome, because we are going to learn so much. And I wonder if those of you who are watching today know anything about Ayurvedic medicine. And if there's any question in particular that you would like, you're welcome to ask. Dr. Suhas, as I was looking at your book, I started glancing at it because I do know a lot about nutrition. But when you say, you know, it's not what you're eating, it's when you eat. It's not. And so I started going through chapter by chapter, and I couldn't put it down. I couldn't put it down, and I knew this has got to be a part one and a part two. So when you start talking about Ayurvedic medicine to people, do you get people to open their eyes real wide and go, I've been working really hard, but I haven't been able to achieve the goals. This is the missing puzzle piece.
Absolutely. I think the strength of Ayurveda is helping people to empower themselves, to educate, to probably help them understand who they are, what their mind-body type is, what their body type is, how their physiology works, how their mind works, what are the choices they are making, and what steps they need to do way before even they get sick to actually restore a state of health, harmony, and balance. So I think the biggest strength, and sometimes I would say the weakness of Ayurveda, is that you have to learn and grow with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you have to be responsible. And as you say always in your show, is we cannot really outsource the most precious thing that we have, which is our health, to a health maintenance organization. And this was what was a startling fact when I started practicing medicine here in the West, where I started looking at these health maintenance organizations, insurance companies, where you eat whatever you want, you sleep whenever you want, you probably indulge into so many things, and when you are sick enough, they'll either cut you open or give you
That's right.
a prescription, which could be mixed with some poisons, which are very toxic and would create multiple side effects. So I think the biggest challenge that I have seen in Ayurvedic medicine is helping people to really understand, to be responsible for everything that they do since they wake up in the morning till they go to sleep.
And we're about to be muted to start the recording. The second, so just know. Here we go.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show Classroom. And today's teacher is Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. We're so honored. I want to say we because I'm going to speak for all of us. Even if you've never heard of Ayurvedic, this is going to potentially change your life. Yes, we have Dr. Joel Furman, who talks about great nutrition and being a nutritarian. And some of us haven't quite made that adjustment yet because maybe there's a frustration that everything that you're doing is not working. Well, maybe this is the missing piece of the puzzle. And it's when you do it. And so let's start from, this is 101, Ayurvedic 101. And of course, by the way, be the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. If you're watching on Facebook Live, then send me a private message, or you can email me, YouTubers. Email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. The 10th caller or texter is going to get, or messenger, will get this book. It's called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, How to Harness the Power of the Clock Genes to lose weight, optimize your workout, and finally get a good night's sleep. Amen. That's all I'm going to say to that. Amen. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Let's talk about the principles of Ayurvedic medicine.
I think the very principles of Ayurvedic medicine is a truly natural medicine. It simply means that you are an inseparable part of nature. You are 100% made in and made by nature. So every rhythm, every system that you are exposed to, whether it's sunlight or darkness or moonlight, various aspects of nature affect our physiology constantly, and we have to make those adjustments within our body. The very premise of writing this book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, was that we understand to the core DNA level or the genetic level that our body has little clocks which are constantly adjusted by the nature. Whether you talk about spring or fall or winter or summer, whether you talk about midday or early morning or late in the night, whether you like it or not, your body is constantly adjusting and syncing itself, synchronizing that with the rhythms of nature. And what you do at that time is very important. The very need for writing this book was, we were talking a lot about food and diet and nutrition, what to eat, but nobody talked about when to eat. Because when I was researching for my earlier book, The Hot Belly Diet, one of the main things that came to my notice was, and I scanned through hundreds and thousands of research articles to kind of distill it down to a very simple message. And the message is eat late to gain some weight, sleep late to gain some weight.
Mm-hmm.
If you are eating late and sleeping late, unfortunately, about 70% of the country was doing is a prescription to gain weight, no matter how healthy you are eating. Because it's not what you eat, but when you eat. It's not how much sleep you get, but when you sleep. It's not how much exercise you do, but when you exercise. That timing of doing everything, which is perfectly synced with the chronobiological rhythms of the body, is the very message of this book. You need to probably understand that circadian disruption is one of the main reasons for many chronic diseases, including diabetes and heart disease and various chronic disease conditions itself. So I think we are painfully realizing that we are made in and made by nature, and that's exactly what Ayurveda is all about. It is a science of life. Nobody gives us a manual how to live life, but that's exactly what it is. You should be looking outside the window. You should be understanding when sun is coming out, the tender sunlight in the morning, eat a lighter breakfast because you're waking up after 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep. When sun is shining in the middle of the day, your digestive system is awake, your liver, your whole digestive fire is burning, and you should eat the main meal of the day at that time. And you are able to walk around and digest and burn those calories much more easily during the day. And in the evening, when you're going to have your dinner, it's the fading sunlight. The sun is setting. It's very tender. It's going to be dark very soon. Everything is going to shut down. So make sure you eat a lighter dinner. And you eat at least 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. So you digest the whole food completely before you go to sleep. So this is not something which I'm making up. This is a solar nutrition that has been around for thousands of years. Somehow we have forgotten about all this thing. Our life has gotten very, very busy. And I think that is the crux of the issue. I practice in the Silicon Valley where everybody is overworked and super busy as such. So at the cost of busyness, you are disrupting those things and then creating these low-grade toxicity, weight gain, feeling dull, heavy, lack of libido, lack of sexual performance, emotional unhappiness, depression, feeling fatigue, having lack of energy, craving for more and more caffeine and sugar. This is just a kind of a cycle that builds up. And if you can reset that just with few things, which I mentioned in my book, I have had hundreds and thousands of people who have responded positively to few changes that you can make that will simply change your life. And what Lily always say is to be responsible. You have to learn and grow because nobody is going to actually teach you something which is absolutely suitable for you. You have to learn it and you have to apply it. And you have to make that information suitable for your day-to-day living. And I think if you're able to do that, you're going to not only change the way you feel, but you're going to attract a complete different life. And that's exactly what I said in my earlier book. It's kindle your fire and you will rekindle your life. Because everything that you attract in life depends upon how you feel in your mind and body. Mm-hmm. Whether it's relationship, whether it's money, whether it's opportunities, whether it's working with people who are way brighter, healthier, smarter, and energetic than you, all of those things, it depends upon how you feel. And I think it's our full-time job to take good care of our own personal health and well-being. And that's what the premise of Ayurveda is. Ayurveda is a consciousness-based approach to health and well-being.
I love this, and as I was learning a little bit more, because I have dabbled a little bit, but I wasn't ready for it. I guess maybe that's my problem, or maybe that's why I didn't adopt it at the time. I wasn't ready for it. But now, as much as we're doing and we've learned through all these years since 2015, when I was first introduced to Ayurvedic, maybe it was even 14, I just didn't understand the why. Your book is a wonderful book that answers the who, what, where, and when. And so with that in mind, as I said, this is like Ayurvedic 101. One of the things that I learned are about the doshas. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I just wanted to see if we can tap into the different doshas, the 3 and the 5 elements that we've done shows about the 5 elements, but again, it hasn't been put together all together with our food. It was on personality types. And so let's talk about the doshas and how they relate to the 5 elements.
Well, and again, I would say that you have been talking about Ayurveda all along, Lillian. You just didn't know.
You're absolutely right. Possibly, yeah.
So I think everything that rings true, which is as old and as true as Mother Nature, is all Ayurvedic.
Yes.
So I think, as I said, it's the mother of all healing sciences. The origins of Greek medicines are from Ayurveda. The origins of traditional Chinese medicines are from Ayurveda. It kind of spread in Southeast Asia as the Buddhism spread from India to all these countries. When Alexander Great was conquering India, he brought back many Ayurvedic doctors and Vaidyas with him, many astrologers with him. So Sanskrit is the language where Vedic literature is written, is the mother of all Indo-European languages. So I think we're talking right from the source where this information is coming. Yes. And the reason why this information is so true, because it's truly applicable in the modern day and age after thousands of years. It cannot be diluted. It is not an age-old science, but it is absolutely a cutting-edge medicine. Every time I look at a new research, it is simply validating the ancient principles of Ayurveda. Going back to your questions, as we said, we are made in nature and made by nature. We are 100% natural. So the universe is made up of 5 building blocks, what we call it as the Mahabhutas, or the elements. And these 5 great elements are space, air, fire, water, and earth. Let me repeat those: space, air, fire, water, and earth. Even these 5 fingers that I'm using are related with those elements. So you talk about space, air, fire, water, and earth. So these 5 fingers denote the 5 basic elements. The doshas, as you said, dosha is a combination of these elements. So that's more of an Ayurvedic lingo to understand. The combination of space and air creates a dosha, which is called as vata. Vata is a combination of air and space. Pitta, which is a combination of fire and water together. And kapha is a combination of water and earth. Why do we combine these elements? To understand, you can simply call someone as air type, fire type, or water type. But when you combine them, the opposite polarities actually denote the various functions in the physiology. For example, when you talk about space and air, it talks about movement, it talks about communication, it talks about transportation, it talks about all the activities, pumping of the heart, respiration, breathing, circulation, carrying nerve impulses from point A to point B. That's all the speed of vata that we talk about. So we use this term, which actually carries the hollowness of the space and the movement of the air together. And pitta is a combination of fire and water together. Apparently, it feels as if these are 2 opposite things, but when we talk about fiery water or watery fire, all the liquids that we have, the enzymes, the juices, the hormones that we have, digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acids, various different hormones in the body, which are liquid. They are all fountains of various different kind of liquids that are oozing in different parts of the body, but they do contain very, very specific biochemical qualities in them. That is why we call it as pitta. So pitta is a combination of fire and water together. And kapha, which is the third dosha, which is the combination of water and earth together. So when you add some water into some flour and make a dough out of it, it creates that stickiness, it creates that binding, it creates that tightness and firmness. So the solidity, the structure, the cohesion, the lubrication is denoted by kapha. So kapha is a building block. So all the tissues, bones, muscles, tissues, tendons, they're all governed by kapha itself. So all the 3 doshas are like good friends. They work hand in hand together. And not only they create your physical body, but they also create your psycho-emotional makeup. Vata people are lean and thin, and they are more of an airy, anxious mentality. They love to worry about things. They are like enterprising butterflies. They move things very quickly. They are very creative, very bubbly, very energetic. Pitta people are sharp and intense and very passionate and a bit hot-headed and a little bit more strong and stubborn and obstinate because of all this pitta, fire, sharp quality. And the body is also flushed, red, a little bit more intense, tendency for inflammation. Kapha is big, like teddy bear like people. They're big, strong, big bones, big muscles. They're more easygoing, slow moving people. They're a little bit more dull in their mind, but they are very happy, easy-go-lucky kind of people. So you not only get a specific functioning physiological body type, but you also get certain vitality because of the doshas as well.
Very good. Okay. So that was Ayurvedic 101 by Dr. Suhas. This is just the beginning. We're just dipping our toe. Be the 10th caller or texter, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, send me a private message. You will get a free copy of Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. More to come with Dr. Suhas worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com and at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live. And we'll be right here waiting for you.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
Okay, so that was amazing example. I hope that everybody was able, because I want to take a test to find out. I'm thinking I'm a little bit Vata and a little Pitta, because well, not you, but the Ayurvedic doshas, you have a preference and a secondary preference, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So I saw that there was a test that you can take or to find out about a preference. So I printed it out because I wanted to. Are you able to go like around the world, Pitta, Kapha? Are you going around going, that person is this, that person is that, just by the way they present themselves?
And that's my favorite time. I travel quite a bit, and when I'm sitting at the airport, I'm just looking at people. And the funny thing about Ayurveda is we tell people how not to be non-judgmental while we're judging them constantly.
Okay, so Yvonne says, my traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and Yvonne is from Malaysia, once told her that to the specific hour to go to sleep, no later than 11 p.m. And we're going to talk about that later, Yvonne. She says, not just the sleep duration, but 8 hours that matters. Is this applicable to complementing Ayurvedic treatment as well? She wants to know.
Absolutely. And he's a wise doctor. Hold on to him, because the last bus that takes you there is between 10 and 11. And I think that's the dosha clock that we talk about. So we are talking about the various activities that the body gets to do in the night when you're deep asleep. And when you're not able to sleep during those 7-8 hours from 11 to 6, I would say, then the body is not able to do those activities. And then you wake up even more tired and more prone for some immune system imbalances. So getting sleep at the right time is very important. So he's absolutely right. And I think as we're talking about the doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, with this, you can simply understand as air, fire, and water. So the clock of the dosha is very interesting. So in the morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the time which is more governed by Kapha. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the night, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, that is governed by Pitta. So from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. is Pitta. From 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. is the time which is again governed by Vata. And in the evening from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. is the time that is governed by Kapha. So
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom, where you can hear us worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I am so excited that we have Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. And he wrote the book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. Never, ever, ever have I been so convicted about wanting to change my schedule as within reading this book. And so I want to encourage you to be the 10th caller or texter, or you can message me. The 10th person that's going to message me is going to win a copy. And YouTube as well. Email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com. You can call or text me 407-373-5959. And for those of you who are watching on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show, you know to send me a message. You can do that from whenyouneedafriend.com. There's the messenger button there, or you can message me from wherever you're at. And so today we're talking about Ayurvedic. Yes, maybe I have been practicing this. I just didn't know what Ayurvedic meant. And it is so important that we not focus on let's look at the global first, and then individually, I want to challenge each and every one of you to study what Vata and Pitta and Kapha, what they mean, and figure out what you are so that you can be your own MD, your own medical detective that starts listening to the body. And I've just been so excited to meet Dr. Suhas because he's the best teacher that we could find when it comes to Ayurvedic medicine, and you're learning from the best. And so I want to encourage you, because the show is a little different now, where we're doing Facebook Live and recording the show from Facebook Live, and that is eventually going to air on the radio. So for those of you who want to listen on live, make sure you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe to my channel, to my website, first of all. That way you know who's going to be on the show, what time they're going to be on the show. And if you want to be a part of the live audience where you can interact with Dr. Suhas and myself, then you'll know when you get your blog who is going to be on at what time. And so I want to encourage you to subscribe at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is where we have a conversation of 100% responsibility, how you can take your life. And what I love about this book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, is that you might be doing things great, but maybe at the wrong time. And so this will give you a guide, an even better and clearer guide of how to live your life. My goodness, so grateful that one of my listeners suggested this. I am so excited for you to suggest whenever you like what you'd like to learn on the Lillian McDermott radio show. I want to encourage you, when you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, to like me and follow me on social media. That's another way that when we are live on Facebook at Lillian's radio show, then you'll get a message if you like me and you follow me. And that way you can decide if you want to be a part of the audience or not. And so while you're there as well, I want to encourage you to check out my sponsors, because without my sponsors, there would be no show. And so figure out ways to support the sponsors, our sponsors, the way they are supporting the show, because this is free information for you. And I hope that you are sharing this information and helping us grow the show. You can, if you're not a social media kind of person, you can also follow me on YouTube. You can click on the YouTube, or you can go to podcasts. I'm on every single podcast. Just go and Google the name, iTunes, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and you can find me in there as well. And last but not least, 407-373-5959. You can send your comments, your suggestions, and always, 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 I will reply, and I will also listen to your suggestion like we did for the show today. I'm so grateful whenever I get to hear from you, because that's the way you say thank you. That's the way you say, I really appreciate what you're bringing on the show. And so today we are so, beyond honored to have Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar on the show. He's written the book Hot Belly Diet. That's where I first learned about him. And then as I diving in deeper, learned that there's a new book called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life. It's simple, but yet it requires for you to make a commitment and learn this new truth. So Dr. Suhas, thank you so much for being on the show today.
So thank you. And what you do is a kind of community healing. So this is like a healing session that you do in group with hundreds and thousands of people. You speak right from heart, and you carry the message, which is the message of inspiring and motivating people to be in more of a control of their mind, emotions, body, and the choices that they make. And I think you're practicing true medicine. I think this is the missing piece, what we have in the current medicine, as I would say. And when I started traveling around the globe and I started looking at the medicine, I felt as if we were not talking to our patients as friends and philosophers and guides, where we were lending our shoulders for them to cry upon, we were holding their hands and guiding them to a certain extent. So every time I see a patient, I look at their whole life, their totality, where they are, what their life looks like, where they're coming from, their childhood, their upbringing, because this is who they are. And the diseases are just the offshoots of some chaotic patterns of their lifestyle. And if we really understand those people very well, your chances of healing them is really, really good. And that's exactly what I teach around the country, to physicians, to my colleagues, to yoga teachers, to Ayurvedic practitioners, to various forms of alternative and holistic modalities, where we are evolving to a different medical system in itself, where we are going to empower people with education, with information, and more importantly, experience. They need to experience how good they can feel. And once you have the experience, then it's your choice to keep on feeling that good.
You know, Dr. Suhas, when somebody challenged me on the show, when I first started the show, it didn't start the same way it is now. So the person that you see today is not the person who started the show in 2011. And so I was challenged about a year into the show. This guy showed up with raw vegan food. And I tried it and I was like, wow, this is good. I never had tried that kind of food. Growing up Spanish in a Spanish-Italian kind of a background, that was the food I was eating. And that's what I thought was good. And so then when I had this guy on the show and I said, you coming on the show, you got to bring me some food. And so I started really loving his food. And then he challenged me on the show to go raw vegan for a month. And here's what happened. And I was surprised. Around 4 days after I accepted the challenge, I started feeling really good. But here's the thing, I didn't feel bad. I didn't know I could feel better.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I could feel better with food, what else is out there? And that criticism of someone doing something different turned into curiosity. And once I became curious, a curious student of life, that's when the teacher showed up. And you are part of that journey. And so what I've learned from you is this circadian rhythm that we kind of in the back of our mind, we have clocks to rule our life. We are ruled by the phone. We are ruled by our, other things. But let's talk about this circadian rhythm and these clock genes that we ignore. Can you share a little bit about that?
I think this is an important question, and what it is that the time is embedded in our genes, whether you do it right thing or not. But the body is constantly telling time, and it's constantly signaling pathways to carry out various functions in the body. And your job is simply to align what you do with what the body is trying to do. Mm-hmm. And that's what we call it a circadian disruption, which can lead to imbalances. But if you can create a synchronization with what time you sleep, what time you wake up, and there are a few different pointers. Eat the right food at the right time, go to the bed at the right time, and wake up at the right time. And the nature does that. You look at the birds, they leave their nest at dawn and come back at dusk, and they have figured it out. But us, we have kind of created a little bit more disruption with everything that we do. And one of the main things that I mentioned in my book was the last thing that you do before you go to sleep. If you're exposing yourselves to the blue light in the night before you go to sleep, where you're going to probably watch at the glaring screen, look at the television, look at your iPads, readers, cell phones, all of those things is going to kind of mimic as if it's daylight out there, and the eyes won't be able to tell the difference. And it delays the secretion of melatonin, which doesn't allow you to fall asleep at the right time. And then you think that you are awake and you are a night owl and you don't have to sleep at this time, because you have created that habitual disruption yourself. So one of the things that I mentioned in the book, at least 2 hours before you go to sleep, try to avoid any kind of electronic activity of that kind. Your cell phone, your computers, your e-readers, television, don't do that. You can crack open a book, you can do some relaxing activity, listen to some soothing music, but not exposed to that. And make your bedroom nice and dark every night before you go to sleep. Another important marker to turn off.
You can keep going. Let me just, we'll talk this off the air. For those of you who are joining us at Lillian's radio show on Facebook Live, you'll get the off-the-air conversation. Make sure you're the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. The book is called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life by Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. And we're going to continue our conversation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. 10th caller or texter. Here we go.
I'll be right here waiting for you.
So we have some questions from our viewers on Facebook Live. One of them is from Yvonne. She says, any Ayurvedic remedies for hair loss?
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few Ayurvedic herbs which are excellent for hair loss as such, and they are Amalaki and Bringaraj and Maca, and I have many of those things on my website.
Okay.
I have an excellent product called Vital Hair, but it's not just the supplementation. And there are many causes for the hair loss, depending upon your age, your stress levels, your depletion, your nutrition. So we'll have to factor many of those things. But if you have already taken care of those things, some of the herbal intelligence would actually really help you to reset those things. So look for Vital Hair and look for some good quality oleation and lubrication to your hair as well as your feet, because those are the centers for heat in the body. And if you can use some good quality herbalized coconut oil, massaging your scalp and massaging your feet would actually help you prevent a further loss of hair and would ultimately help you thicken and shine your hair as such. So I think Ayurveda has some great remedies and suggestions for hair loss, and you can always contact us, and we do a lot of international sessions with our clients, and we'll be happy to help you. There's a book my lovely wife wrote on skin and beauty called as Enchanting Beauty, and it's a great book, and which we'll find lots of different tips for excellent quality hair growth as well as preventing further hair loss. So
would love to have her on the show.
There might be many causes, but try to look for the best.
Wonderful. I would love to have her on the show as well. And so just this morning, because I've just been trying to absorb your book as much as I can, and when I learned about the blue lights and how they're causing our bodies to wake up and be on the wrong rhythm, I noticed in my phone that there is let me
dimming app, so you can dim your phone. Yeah.
You can dim your lights at a certain time, starting at 10 o'clock. I think that's the time that it dims. And I actually took a picture of it, and I was just impressed. You can schedule it, and this is what it looks. I don't know if you can see it, but it's. I've got an iPhone, and it tells you what time you can, and it'll yellow out. Is that? Do you have any other suggestions? Oh, you're going to be muting the mics. Darn it.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome to the Lillian McDermott radio show /classroom. And I think I'm going to add that to my tagline, /classroom, because that's what we do. We're learning and we're growing together. I always say that if you think you're done growing or learning, put a chalk line around you because you are dead. I am telling you that the last breath you take, that's the moment you stop. And then you start in a different realm. You learn a new truth in a different realm. So we always, always learn. And today we're giving the book. It's called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life by Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. And I have learned so much. It's like the missing puzzle piece. This is what you should call this book if you ever rewrite it, the missing puzzle piece, because we all want to do what's right for our bodies. I think we do for the most part. We just don't know how. And this book will help you learn how to take all the things. And the beauty of it is that it's simple. It just requires a commitment and to reschedule your life. And be the 10th caller or texter, 407-373-5959. If you're watching on Facebook, if you are, you want to be the 10th caller, or you can message me, you can text me, and YouTube as well. You can email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com, and I'll take all the different times that things came in. Okay. So there's so much to learn.
Going back to your question about blue light, I think it's a very good question. And there are some blue light glasses that you can buy when you're watching.
One of my followers was saying that.
Like that. But again, I often tell my patients there's no right way to do a wrong thing. So you can't do something and keep on doing something which is not good for you. So it's not only watching something or reading on something which is interfering the secretions of the melatonin, but it's also the emotional component that it brings. So what you're watching and what it stays with you. So the last thing that you do before you sleep is very, very important, because it stays with you at a subconscious level in your sleep. So if you're practicing, say, a short meditation, or you're practicing some gratitude journaling, or you're doing a simple prayer, that's going to stay with you throughout the night. And I think you engaging into those self-referral, mindful, inwardly activities is more important than trying to take your mind to this passive entertainment at that important need of the hour. Because first thing when you wake up in the morning and the last thing you go to sleep are the two north and south pole of your day. And what you do for yourself at that time is going to decide the tempo of the day and night. So you want to be as close as possible to your own self during both of those things. From an Ayurvedic perspective, we call those times as the Sattvic times. Those are the times that you have to be with yourself. And if you are one of those people who start their day looking at the cell phone, and last thing that you do before you go to sleep is look at your cell phone, then that's a habit that needs to change.
Okay, so that's great advice. So let's talk about the Ayurvedic day, because you have it broken into 6 segments of our day. So let's start with 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
That's the time when you wake up. Around 6 o'clock is time when you should probably leave the bed and start your day itself. And your colonic motility, which is a fancy name for bowel movement, is 3 to 4 times stronger at that time. So you'll have an easy, effortless, complete evacuation if you wake up around that time. Ideally, you should drink a nice big cup of warm water. You can squirt some lemon juice into that or a little honey into that. But drinking a cup of hot water with lemon and honey is an excellent drink, which is going to balance all the 3 doshas and will kind of stimulate the bowel movement. You will have some easy, effective bowel movement at that time. One of the best things that you can do, and there's enough research that is published about it, is doing some brisk, vigorous exercise in the morning. You have just finished about 7, 8, 9 hours of sleeping. So that's the kapha time of the day. That's the building time of the body. So if you engage yourself into 20, 30 minutes of brisk, vigorous exercise at that time, you will be wide awake. Your digestive juices, your appetite, your digestive function will be much more awake. Your energy reserves are going to really up and about and running. So I think you will not need a whole lot of caffeine or sugar to get day going, and it will really wake you up. You will walk into your office or workplace completely awake and ready. And what we know from science is between 9:30 to around 12:30 is the time when you have your best cognition possible. So your brain is completely awake and you can get lots of things done during those times if you're awake and up and running around those times. So you can get a lot of things done during those times. Around 12:30 is the peak time when sun is strongest in the universe, and your digestive system is fully awake. So you should be having your main meal of the day, whatever you are eating, protein, fat, carbohydrates. The main meal of the day should be around that time, and you should be able to probably digest and burn those calories throughout the day itself. Around between 2 to 6 in the evening, that's the vata time of the day, and around 4 o'clock it peaks up. And that's a good time, probably around 5 o'clock in the evening, to do some outdoor activity, do some group sports, do some fun activities with your body as such, and then prepare for an evening meditation, which is going to set the tone. So morning and evening meditation is a very good idea to be a little bit more mindful of your emotions and all the choices that you make. And have an early dinner. You should be eating at least 2 or 3 hours before you go to sleep. So a lighter dinner is absolutely needed. And what happens with a lighter dinner is you go to sleep not feeling full, and you have completely digested the food itself. So you go to sleep completely digested, and since you have digested the food, you effortlessly wake up in the morning. Around 5:30 or 6, you are slightly hungry at that time, and you will wake up with the activity of the bowel movement. So when you look at the daily clock of all of these things, is actually resetting the routine. And diet, sleep, and exercise, these are the pillars of health. You look at from any system perspective, these are the pillars of health. And you should carve out time to feed yourself excellent food at the right time. You should be able to making time to do physical exercise, movement, sports, activities that you do for your body, and getting enough sleep. Means we used to think earlier that when you have nothing else to do, that's when you should sleep. But now we know sleep is the most important activity that you need to be doing in order to reprogram your health, your immunity, your cognition, your brain function, your memory, so many benefits that you can talk about. So if you can time in your diet, sleep, and exercise, I think everything else is going to fall in the right place at the right time. So I think the timing is everything. And that's what we are realizing in medicine, that you are busy and your work routine should not dictate the rhythms of the body itself. And that is what is commonly happening. And that is the reason why I wrote this book, because it is changing your fertility clock. It is changing your digestive function. It is changing your immune behavior. It is changing your mood and emotions. People are getting impatient and snappy and grumpy and irritable. The relationships are falling apart. You are overworked and super busy, and you kind of don't even know when to take vacation. People actually don't want to go on a vacation because they just want to continue to work. And
Yes.
the more busy you are, you think you are more needed. So happiness is busyness. That the more busy you are, you think you are more happy, but ultimately it is taking you to a stage where you are going to have more money, but you will be ultimately unhappy. And that's the state of the country. Americans are cash rich but time poor.
Yes, yes. And we're getting the end of the radio show, but we're going to continue the conversation on Facebook Live at Lillian's radio show after. The book is called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life by Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. And the 10th caller, texter 407-373-5959. If you're watching on Facebook Live, message me. The 10th message will be receiving that. And if you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can also email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com. Dr. Suhas, this has been so enlightening. We haven't even dipped our toe in this. And so I want to thank you for being our teacher today and for teaching us that by tweaking what we're doing with the Ayurvedic method or lifestyle, it could really change our life. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the current onslaught of the chronic diseases, we all know that about 80% of the top killers are due to lifestyle diseases. And
Yes.
with the right changes in the diet and lifestyle, not only you can prevent, but you can even reverse these
Yes.
chronic diseases.
We know, and we're going to continue our conversation after the show at Lillian's radio show. So excited. for all of you so we can learn this truth together. And please remember, be your own MD, medical detective. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. That's the best ever. Okay, so
the opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
So, Dr. Suhas, thank you. I don't know how much time we have or you have after the show here, but we have some questions from the viewers. Yvonne, and I think this is a comment, I'm more than anything, there are a lot of people who fall asleep watching television. Any words of wisdom for people who are watching television as they're falling asleep?
Well, as I said, that it is something that is bugging them, that is making them feel insecure, unhappy. That is the reason that they are doing that. It's the missing link, that they don't have enough friends or social connections. That's the reason why it happens sometimes. I often tell people to replace that with a soothing music of some kind, where they will feel as if there's something that they are listening. The ears are not that much affected, but the sight, you're looking at the glaring screen, that is more affected. So if there's something that they can replace that with a gentle radio would be the first step, and then move away from the radio and the talking and the discussion to a light soothing music would be the third step, and slowly they can wean off those training wheels down the road. And I have done that with many of my patients before.
Very good. So I would love for you to share an example of a light meal, because, we're doing things totally different. We eat a light breakfast, a moderate lunch, and then a huge dinner. And then we maybe do a little bit more work in our office, maybe check a Facebook, maybe do whatever, and become sedentary after that. And so we are kind of paving our way to disease, as you mentioned. And so can you give us an example of what you eat in the day for lunch and then for dinner?
Well, I think for usually at breakfast, you can have a light breakfast. I would say it could be a steel-cut oatmeal with some almond milk, with some nuts and seeds and dry fruits and things like that. I like to add some ghee to that, which is a clarified butter. Is an excellent food at that time. Lunch, I often eat a bunch of mixed greens, a lot of steamed and stir-fried veggies with a little bit of brown rice and lentil soup. That's the usual meal at that time. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat any meat or any of those things, but I try to get it from nuts and seeds and beans and lentils and grains and the right combinations of the vegetables with it. Mm-hmm. And I like to have a little bit more of a soupy meal in the evening. So it could be a blended vegetable soup. It could be a very interesting Ayurvedic dish that I mentioned in my book called as khichdi. Khichdi is a combination of mung beans with rice. And you can make that with some leafy greens and make it nice and soupy. And that's usually I have for dinner around 6:30 or 7 in the evening. Mm-hmm. And if at all, very rarely I'm hungry in between the meals, but if I am, I'll have a piece of apple or maybe half a banana or something like that. So try to eat as close to the source as much as possible. Try to eat foods that are freshly prepared and whole, and ideally balancing all the 6 tastes in them. Eat less, eat right. I think there are 3 things that we need the most to stay alive. Number 1 is air. Number 2 is water. And number 3, and the least important, is food. So many times food is overrated. So what you need to survive is air. What you need the most is good quality water that you drink throughout the day and hydrate yourself properly. And small portions of right food, which is intelligent, smart, which is filled with prana, the life force, which is going to nurture you and nourish you. I think that will give you energy. Many times, if you are eating the wrong foods in wrong amounts, and even the RDA that the American Nutrition Association talks about, required daily allowance, it's a lot of food. You don't need that, okay? So I think the less you eat, the longer you live. So people who fast, people who stay away from food, people who eat smaller meals live longer. And there's enough research that talk about. But in the name of required daily allowances, we are piling people's plate with lots of proteins and fats and carbohydrates and things, and you don't need that much.
Okay, in the book you talk about social jet lag, and since we're talking about the circadian rhythm, I thought that maybe you can touch upon the social jet lag that I think we are all experiencing.
I think this is a very new, big thing, I would say. And I see so many people in my practice, they somehow behave from Monday to Friday pretty well. And they wake up in the morning, they have a light breakfast, they show up to work, exercise, all kind of thing Monday to Friday. But come Friday, you have license to eat late and sleep late. And so they're eating late, they're sleeping late, and they wake up way too late on Saturday morning because they don't have to go anywhere. So they wake up late, and then instead of having breakfast, they have brunch. And since they have brunch, they're not hungry for lunch. So they have late dinner, and it's again Saturday night. So you're sleeping late, you're eating late, and again waking up late on Sunday morning, and again the same old story. And you've violated your biological clock and disrupted your rhythms over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's Monday morning, you have to show up for work, and you wake up and start your day at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's as if that you have spent a weekend at a different coast altogether and have a 3 hours time zone difference. And your bowel movement, your energy levels, your sleeping patterns, your digestion, everything is getting erratic. So this is what we call it a social jet lag. And the research that I did for the book, it says that when you take a trip somewhere and there's 1 hour time zone change, it takes at least a day or two for you to recover from that trip, which is just 1 hour time zone change. If you go to some place which is a 3 hour time zone change, it is going to take about 2 or 3 days for you to normalize your rhythm.
Wow.
So every weekend, the clock you have disrupted is going to take at least 3 days for you to normalize. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, by the time Thursday it gets regulated, it's one more time, it's Friday, and you do it all over again. And this is a chronic disruption that happens to all the bodily function that we see.
Yes. So how do you suggest that we comply, because we're sociable people, socializing happens at night for the most part. How do you suggest we get back to our rhythm without isolating ourselves from an invitation?
That's a great question. That's a great question. But again, as I said, nobody's stopping you from socializing it. But again, minimizing unwanted drinking, minimizing unwanted eating and binging too large amount of food at that time, getting back at a proper time, even if you are back by 10:30 or 11, and able to go to sleep, and probably start your day around the same time on Saturday as well as Sunday. And I tell this to many people, that you can start your day maybe 6:30 or 7 on Saturday or Sunday, and do more or less the same activities that you do on the weekend. And nobody's stopping you from socializing or anything else. But some of the bodily rhythms of physical movement, exercise, going to sleep, doing your own chores and things can be carried out on the weekend also. It doesn't have to be too much of indulgences. And I think we are social beings, and we always enjoy company, and whether we like it or not, we are bound to travel. So we have to learn how to travel smart, how to carry the right kind of food with us, so that we are not going through bad situations of airport foods and airline foods and things like that. So we are stocking up on the right food that we can eat at the right time. And every time you land up in a different time zone, what activities you can do. I mentioned that in my book very well. So I think proactive making those choices is very important. And many people do that. And I see so many executives and corporate people who have cracked the code of how to travel smart. And I think that's very important.
Well, this is great information. I think that this is just the beginning, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn more and grow with the information that you're sharing. And I had heard of Ayurvedic medicine. I even had a massage, an oil massage, and it was so wonderful. And it was a great idea. And I myself just, the busyness. And this year, I declared that this is the year that I regain, some normalcy in my life, because I've been working a lot of hours. And so I've given up some things that I held dear, like writing for the newspaper and, just certain things that was adding more to my life. But what I've made a commitment here, and the awareness that it doesn't matter what I'm doing, how I'm eating, it doesn't matter all that. It's when I'm doing it as well. It matters. And so I'm making a new commitment to getting to bed by, because I always say this, I tell my husband, that if I get to bed before 10 o'clock and I am in bed by 10 o'clock, I have the best night of sleep. But if I keep doing one more thing and one more thing and one more thing, because I think in my mind, I'm not going to sleep as soundly if I don't get it done. But the reality is we lie to ourselves all the time. Any words of wisdom to break this lie to ourselves that we've learned, that we've seen in our family, that we see people that are successful do, that we are just need to learn this new truth that that the time of the clock, our body needs to be honored.
Well, I think slowing down at that time in the evening is very important. So you need to really slow down and unwind. And I think everyone else, all the living species do that, but we somehow stimulate ourselves with entertainment or working, emails that you're sending, good or bad news, whichever comes. It's either going to make you anxious or worried or excited or depressed. So staying away from those activities and slowing down the pace of life is very important, especially before you go to sleep. And making sure that you're not eating and going to sleep, because if the food stays in the system, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for you to sleep. If you have successfully completed your digestion at least an hour or so before you go to sleep, then you're perfectly fine. So making sure you have your last meal 3 hours before you go to sleep, making sure that at least 1 or 2 hours before you go to sleep, you stop watching TV or stop looking at your computers and things like that, and be in bed by 10:30. That's the last bus that's going to take you there for a peaceful good night's sleep. Yes. And it's universal for everything. And I think we have made our life too busy. And I jokingly tell to all my patients, for a fast-acting relief, try slowing down.
And it's amazing when we do slow down and we create these parameters for ourselves. The things we get done with when we have a lot of sleep, we can focus a little bit better. And some of the stories that you share in the book are really good for all of us to learn from each other. And real quick, I have a question. You talk about not eating, and we've learned not to eat 3 hours before we go to bed. But I'm not sure if I did where I remember reading this, or if I saw it in a comment that you made, which is you talked about drinking. So there's a golden milk or golden, is it a golden milk that you suggest for people who have problems falling asleep?
Yeah, sometimes if at all if people feel that they have eaten and they have digested food and they can't fall asleep because they're hungry, then I recommend them to have a little bit of a warm drink, like a golden milk with almond milk, or if they can tolerate regular milk with turmeric. And it's an excellent way to cool yourself down and help you fall asleep much more easily. And there are numerous benefits of turmeric infused milk, which is good to reduce heat, inflammation, calming your mind, energize your system, probably reduce any degree of impurities in the blood. It allows to make your body a little bit more alkaline in nature. With the very spiritual quality of this spice, which is going to allow you to probably feel in your sleep that you're attaining a greater and higher level of consciousness. Because when we sleep, we are not just sleeping. We are connecting ourselves to distant realms. And I think Ayurveda has always talked about using that in order for you to probably do the virus scan of many of the good and bad experience and emotions you have had throughout the day or throughout the last few weeks or months together. So it is purging things out. So as we are doing a cleansing activity, the sleep itself is a very big, powerful cleansing activity. And if you do something like golden milk, it's going to support that also.
And how much turmeric to the milk do you
If
do?
you're drinking a cup of milk, you can add about half a teaspoonful of good quality organic turmeric powder.
Yeah. And
If
can
you
you do
want to
coconut
add some
milk?
sweetener to that, you can add a little bit honey or maple syrup, just a little bit to it. It's a good idea to add some ghee, which is a clarified butter. And together, it's very good for building bones, for calming the system, for having a good effective bowel movements, reducing the gut inflammation, restoring the gut microbiome, as we say. So there are numerous benefits. So
And it doesn't disrupt your catabolic state. It doesn't disrupt your
absolutely not. It doesn't.
good.
Yeah, it doesn't
That's great.
disrupt the category state. And I think the whole concept of using right kind of spices at the right time, infusing them with the food, they're very smart, they're very intelligent. They know exactly where to do and what to get it done in the body itself. So we can have another show talking
Yes.
just about the food and the spices and the Ayurvedic perspective of different taste and how it relates to the understanding of human body from an Ayurvedic perspective. But what intrigues me is the work that you do, Lillian. And what is intriguing is that when we talk to our patients, they are human beings, and their diseases are just the byproduct of something else that is going on. They're having a financial distress, and it might result into a heartburn or hyperacidity. They're going through a painful relationship crisis, might result into insomnia or depression. They might be going through some kind of a challenges in the workplace that can result into anger and can result into some autoimmune conditions. So there's a psycho-emotional correlate to everything that people are going through. We as healers, we as practitioners, we as doctors, if we don't have time, the word doctor simply means to teach. Docere, it comes from the Latin word to means to teach. Is that right? So what we are doing is we are teaching patients about themselves. So we are helping them that the reason why you're having this problem is this is where it is coming from. Until and unless you change your outlook and attitude to look at that problem, the disease is not going to go anywhere. And I cannot give you any glorified band-aid to stick on it and then move on around it. So I think going to the root cause of the problem is a very Ayurvedic message that we often do. It's time consuming, but it works. It saves a lot of time, money, and energy. In the olden days, the king used to keep a watch on these various Ayurvedic doctors in the community. And if they are super busy and there is a big waiting list for them to see the doctor, then the king used to know that this doctor is not doing a good job. But if the clinic is empty, then the king used to invite that Vaidya or the Ayurvedic doctor and award him something, because he believed that not only you are seeing the patient, but you are teaching them how not to get sick next time you need me. So the emptier your clinics are, the healthier the community is going to be. So
I love that vision. I love that vision, Dr. Suhas.
Education is the key. Empowering is the key. Giving your body as the top priority, because that's the tool to manifest everything in your life. Your health is the very basis of everything. Whether you want to earn money, you want to fulfill your sensory cravings and desires, you want to be on a pursuit of enlightenment, liberation, no matter what you want to do. Your body is the vehicle for that. And creating that priority is something very important. If you're a parent, you should be the role model for your parent, for your children. What you do for yourself, they're watching you, they're listening to you. And so everything that you do in this show is so powerful and so phenomenal. And all the people that come and how we talk about all this, and this is something we are passionate about. This is something that we have understood that this is the missing piece in medicine that needs to be added. We are talking about Vedic counseling. We are talking about psycho-emotional healing. We are talking about even yoga teachers that should feel empowered to talk to their students in a way where you can be the leader and you can help them grow from the challenges and the limitations that they're feeling. So I think we are together creating a very new paradigm, which I'm very, very happy and very proud of your work. I'm so happy, and thank you deeply from my heart for inviting me and sharing.
Oh, you are welcome anytime. And as a matter of fact, as soon as we hang up here or we're finished the show, I'm going to have Ashley email you, because this is so important. I've had doctors come on the show. That's, and I've adopted this philosophy that to me, it's not the DNA that we need to focus on, it's the family recipes. It's not only the family recipes. What I find out is when you're eating these family recipes and eating the meals of this family recipe, that I've had these same doctors come on the show and say 99% of all illness is due to an emotional side, an emotional component. And that if we just figure out what is going on within our spirit, we can heal the body easier and with less money. It doesn't cost a lot of money to heal the body. But if you refuse to heal the spirit and the mind and deal with some of these things that are creating the root cause of your problem, then it's going to be very expensive to heal the body, and we may never get it healed.
I agree. I fully agree.
And so I thank you for being the missing piece in my puzzle. And I'm just so grateful, and I look forward to our next conversation. I'm sure all of you agree. I haven't been looking down here. So Gabrielle wants to know, she's from Montenegro, she wants to know if the room temperature is important.
Yes, the water has to be slightly at the body temperature level or even slightly warmer, because when it's slightly warmer, it has a vasodilating effect. So it dilates the vessel and it kind of improves the circulation. When it's cold, it's vasoconstriction, so it constricts it, and it doesn't do and deliver the nutrients to the site. So I think warm or the room temperature water or the body temperature water is ideal to drink.
And you also said that in the morning to drink warm water,
Warm water
with lemon, and is that so?
You're
saying
raw honey if you feel comfortable.
So room temperature is too cold. You're saying we should warm it up?
In the morning, you need to drink warm water.
Warm water, like our tea or coffee without any coffee or tea, just water. Got it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Suhas. And I'm so looking forward to you joining us again to share your love and knowledge. Thank you so much.
All the best. All the best. Okay?
Yes. And so for now, I'm going to say goodbye. For those of you who are watching on YouTube and on Facebook Live, please share the show, like us, follow us, tell all your friends about it, because you don't see this information in the mainstream media. What you're going to see is take a pill, and then you have all these horrible side effects, but these beautiful images that delude you into thinking that taking the pill is going to create happiness. But I say, you can take a pill, you can take responsibility. And I hope that you will join us in taking that responsibility that leads to freedom and empowerment. And so for now, we'll say goodbye, and I look forward to seeing you again in our next conversation.
Thank you.
So now I'm going to stop the stream and stop the recording. Here we go.